I'm your host, Sean MacKenzie. Thank you for joining me once again on my channel on data analytics and data transformation. Today, we're going to learn how to make a comma-separated list inside of one field from many rows in a table. And we're going to do it without using a loop or a cursor. And the reason we're going to do it that way is because it's often better to do set operations instead of doing a loop. The loop might work for a small number of rows, but for, say, millions of rows, it's going to bog down quite nastily. So we're going to use the power of reflection to create an awesome query that's going to give us exactly what we want in an example of a car maker who wants to list the sum of his car sales, but also wants to just have a list of the colors of all the cars that were sold. Okay, so I'm going to start with SQL Server Management Studio, and I've created a database called YouTube Stuff, and in that database I created a small table, and the table has some car sales data in it. So as you can see, this has a bunch of Honda cars, so we're going to be selling Hondas today, and we've got Hondas in our table. We've got Accords, some Civics, and some CRVs, and we sold them for these prices. I guess the Accords and Civics are going for the same price today, and we've got a bunch of different colors down the side here. Okay, and so after my first statement there, I'll put another statement in because I want to get the sum of the price that they were sold for as my total sold column. And what this is going to do is give us our starting point for our query. So we'll select our car model, car prices, total sold from car sales, and we'll group that by the car model so that we can see the total amount sold for each car model. And you can see that Civic sold 100,000, Accord sold 100,000, CRV sold 150,000. But what if we wanted to add our car colors to our query, and the colors are down the right hand side of our list there in the right hand column. We only want to show, that the colors that were sold in one column in one row, and we don't want to have a bunch of columns added to our query. So from here, what we're going to is we're going to set out to get our delimited list of colors in one column. And so we can start off by getting our car color and by putting a comma in front of it from our car sales, and we'll use a feature called for_XML_path. And usually what you would do with for_XML_path is you would specify a column name after car color, and that would create sort of an XML notation around each of the field entries. So by not specifying a column name, we get a nice comma delimited list in our column at the very bottom. So what we're going to do from here is we're going to add a alias to the car sales in our query, which we're going to come back to a little bit later, and we'll put this query into its own set of brackets so that we can use it as a field inside of another query. And so what we'll do is we'll call this as colors, field named colors, and what we can do from there. And so we'll start a new select statement including our field that we've just created, and we'll say that we're selecting from car sales once again, but in this case we'll give it the alias sales. And so we'll go back up and we can add our fields from the car sales table. So we'll say that we want sales dot car model, and we'll have our colors field, and what we're going to do is we're going to join the outer query to our temporary query there, and that's what's going to use reflection because we're going to join it to the model, and so it's only going to give us a delimited list for each model that we want. And so you can see when I run that in the list below, you can see that I do have all of the colors for each of the models, but we have some duplication going on there. So you can see the Accord has white, silver, blue, black, and the Civic has some other colors, and the CRV has its own colors. So we know that we have the right list here, but we've got duplication, and so we're going to go back up to our query up above, and we're going to make a couple of changes. The first one is we want to get rid of that leading comma in our list there, and so we'll use the stuff function, which allows us to stuff one string into another, and we'll stuff the first character going for one character with two single quotes. That'll put an empty string there, and that'll get rid of our leading comma. And so if I go ahead and run that one, you can see that our lists now have no leading comma, and that's a nicer list of colors, but we still have the duplication. So we'll go ahead and add a distinct after our select in our select statement, and the distinct is going to eliminate the duplication that we're seeing. And so after I add the distinct, I can run that again, and you can see at the very bottom we have each of the models with exactly what we want, which is the list, comma separated list in one column for colors. And then from there, what I'm going to do is I'll sort of put this into a common table expression, or a CTE, and I'll call it QTMP, and that'll make our list of colors, cars, and all the associated colors available to us for another query. So with our CTE, we can go ahead and create another select statement and use our CTE as just like we would any other table or query, and we can select our car model, the sum of the car price as our total sold from car sales, grouped by car model, just like we did up above. And so I'll go ahead and comment out those other queries now. So if I go ahead and make some changes to that, we're going to join in our CTE, so we'll say that we're selecting from car sales with the alias sales, and we're going to inner join to our QTMP CTE statement, and that's going to join in our nice list of concatenated or delimited colors. And then from there I can go back and add the alias to my car model field, since that field is in both tables. And I can group by the car colors as well in my query, so that I can go back and add the field, the car colors, to the colors field to our query. And if I hit the F5 on that, we get exactly what we wanted, which was the car model, the total sold, and all of the colors in one field together. I hope you enjoyed today's video on using the power of reflection and some funky little features in SQL Server to get a delimited list from many rows in a table. If you liked today's video, please like and subscribe, and add your comment to the comment section below. And thanks for joining. I'll see you next time.